15th, 2025. We'll call this meeting to convene. Board of Supervisors in the boardroom. Roll call, all members are present along with Board Secretary Sheila Shackleton. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda as presented?
Sorry.
Motion by Travis, second by Scott to approve September 15th agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Approved minutes from September 8th, 2025. They're pretty lengthy because of the resolutions, but I believe they're perfect. Is there any changes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion by Steve, second by Travis to approve the minutes from our meeting on September 8th. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion. You're gonna abstain. Perfect. Motion is passed 4-0 with one abstention. Isaac. I think Ray was gonna call in. No, we can do land use. We'll do the land use one. So we'll move down to land use. Administrator Ray now approve resolution 9/15/25-40, a minor subdivision for Johnson. You guys have got that packet to you. I believe this is second split, is what Ray told me. You can see on the map up on the screen too, he's just adding a little bit of the crop ground into a split. I believe it's so many feet around the north Jasper Avenue, a little bit of the corner up there on 110th, and then a little bit of the top up against our blacktop B22. Everybody signed off on it. That's how we were surveyed, and that's how they presented. He's on the phone.
Come I can't do it.
That's fine, busy. Shoot,
Did I just do that?
you might have hung up on it.
That's what I call yourself.
Yeah, it's not the loudest though. Yeah, Rick, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry. So we're just going through the minor subdivision. Any comments on that for Johnson?
well, basically what he's doing, he's gonna sell off the tillable land. He's vacating that grass strip along the roads. That's gonna be, in use with the building site.
Yeah, makes sense. Everybody got signed off on it in the county?
Yes, everybody signed off on it.
All right, any questions for Ray, or is there a motion to approve resolution 40?
I'll move to approve resolution 40.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Steve to approve resolution 9/15/25-40, a minor subdivision for Johnson. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Scott?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Isaac?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Jake? Aye. Motion is carried 5-0. All right. You got 9:05 any public comment today?
No.
Shoot. Thank you. Got 5 minutes, Roman, you think?
Sure.
Perfect. The engineer, Roman Lunson, good morning, department update.
So last week, more flood repairs, pulling up rock from ditches, erosion stone, spot rocking, some blading, several locations. Aside from that, we were mowing hard surface round 3, the northwest quadrant is completed, and we got started in the Fredericksburg area. Side roads on round 2, everything is completed, except for the Saudi and the national routes, which those will be starting this week. Bridge 1981 replacement project on Windsor. We got both abutments completed. We'll probably be setting beams this week and pouring a slab next week. So hopefully get that project opened up in time for the majority of the harvest season. Edging shoulders on B56 south of Lawler. Spray brush on hard surfaces. We got some entrance culvert replacements. Two of the foremen did attend the Iowa Streets and Roads Conference, which is kind of geared towards foremen superintendents. I guess this year was rec attendance, so I hear that's a good meeting. See, as far as engineers departments, we poured the deck on Bridge 2400 on the Caldwell Blacktop on Tuesday. They'll start dropping those forms today, now that we got cure and the 5-day cure period out of our way. Start busting off pavement, hauling and fill, finish the concrete open railing, and then, yeah, like I said, build upgrade. Hopefully get that poured prior to any cold setting in. Bridge 1300 and 2000 for next year. We got the check plans reviewed by the Iowa DOT, very minimal corrections needed, so that's good to get done. We are underway with right-of-way acquisition negotiations and then utility coordination on those two projects. Met with Atura on Friday, the Zoom meeting. They have pretty good progress done. I also met with Casey May in regards to some of the utility stuff for the proposed engineer's office building. Job opening for mechanic, we currently have 4 applications so far. Just a reminder to anybody that's open until October 2nd. We are going to start doing some of them interviews this week, just to get started on it. Renee and myself have been working a lot on the annual report. I'm going to get that submitted today. We did have an employee submit their notice of retirement. I'll come with you guys, come to you guys next week in regards to that. It's been here for a long time, so can't blame it. That's all I got for update.
Any questions for the engineer? Thank you.
Thanks.
Got about a minute yet, or two, committee assignment by anyone? Travis, had any? Scott?
Well, we had the fall Heartland seminar on Thursday down in Toledo, and then during that, we had a Heartland Insurance Risk Pool meeting in the afternoon. We discussed claims in closed session for about an hour, and then we had some discussion about reinsurance premiums and electronic transfers. We may be going to electronic transfer system for next year's payments, just because of the size of the checks and the post office's inability to deliver.
In a timely manner.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just kind of talked about some of the stuff coming up for the December meeting. One thing we did discuss, Troy was there. He's proposing, I can pass this around, you guys can look at it, a hot work permit for secondary roads, and conservation, and also for any contractors that we may hire working on any of our buildings. It was not received well by the Heartland Board. It was determined to bring it back, give it to our engineers, get their opinion. It'll be on the next meeting, whether or not to vote to make this a policy, but if anybody wants to take a look at it. That was probably the item of most discussion of the whole meeting, so.
Pretty much anything like grinding to,
Cut torches, grinders, welders, anything that could create a potential fire.
if it's only good for one day, so you have to do it for every occurrence?
Yep, every occurrence would have to be done.
One every day for the shop.
Any, other questions or comments? I didn't have any. Isaac, you had anything?
Yeah, I have one in a second, I have an FMC. So we appointed a chair and vice chair, those seats both stay the same. We acknowledged a new board member from Floyd County. Went over some May and July financials, reviewed the bylaws and procedures. And we also voted to decommission the ECI website due to not enough traffic, so.
All right, we'll finish up. Steve, you got anything? 9:10 appointment here is discuss TIF projects, urban renewal plan. This was brought up last week to see what the board wants to move forward with Homeland Energy Solutions LLC business agreement request. Beth is with us today. Here you go, Beth. This was printed off from the assessor. Ray is on the phone. So Ray, I'm just handing Beth, pretty much it reflects the spreadsheet that you sent to Homeland and to us about 3 weeks ago of that 5-year industrial phase-in breakdown if Homeland asks for that tax credit, right?
Right.
So what it is, to get the board and the public, if they're watching, what happens if they apply for the exemption, it's 25% for phase 1 project would go into effect 27, 28. Phase 2 project that I think they're doing currently would go into effect 28, 29, taxable years. And then he broke down the number at current levy rates. I can't share that enough. This is based off of current levy rates with the tax bodies. So phase 1 would be approximately 22,000 if they elect the 5-year phase-in industrial credit. Phase 2 project would add another 15,000 the second year, if you know what I mean, the 28, 29, because that project is not done yet. So those are the numbers if they include the 5-year tax credit for industrial. Now, if they did not do that, the total numbers are on the left of the piece of paper. So no phase-in would be 91,622 per the 5 years. And then the phase 2 project with no phase-in industrial credit is those numbers. So I guess the board needs to know, and we need to know how you guys want to move forward with their request. Back 3-4 weeks ago, Homeland did come to us with, or Ray, do you have anything to add to that?
No, like I say, it's pretty straightforward. You've got the 5-year phase-in potential, partial industrial exemption, that does not require board action. That's a given if they so choose to go that route. I think the question mark is you brought Homeland Energy into the urban renewal plan, so it's a matter of how you want to utilize that added value and tax collection as a result of these 2 phases proposed projects. Nothing says in the urban renewal plan that you have to do this, but again, you did bring it in. You could also amend the plan and remove that from the urban renewal plan. I think you've got multiple options here that I think needs to be discussed. I think my figures are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but I thank you for that with the numbers. So then, yes, that poses the question why we're here today, right? So they came to us 3-4 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date. They had the numbers of phase 1 and phase 2, pretty much from Ray. They did ask for a tax incentive funding request of 90% for 10 years. We would receive that tax increment and then return 90% back to Homeland. Over the 10 years that they requested would be about $1.5 million. Now remember, TIF is based off of tax bodies of all tax bodies that collect off of that parcel. So that is, just for example, townships, school district, county, assessor, community college. I might be missing 1 or 2, extension office, I believe. So I guess I'm gonna open it up unless Homeland has anything else to ask. Fair enough. So you guys did ask some questions, Steve. We did bring that up about the answers to those questions of how many investors and how much corn is local delivered.
I think you said it was 60% of the shareholders are
from Chickasaw County, something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't-
It's not a-
They were with me, but-
It was number of units, it was by number of units, yeah.
Okay, I can bring that up very quickly, just if you got it, Scott, I can just Google Beth here, sorry. Sixty-one percent of our units are owned by Chickasaw County residents, and then 7 to 20% of our annual corn purchase comes from Chickasaw County. That number does vary though year to year based on local markets. So. So yes, Ray does bring up a good point. I did talk to Ray this morning. Very good question. And I can ask it again. Why did we include Homeland Energy parcel into our urban renewal plan? So any new growth, any new base includes Homeland is involved in our urban renewal plan now, their parcel. So I guess what is the purpose of collecting those dollars if we want to, if we don't? My question to Ray this morning, and maybe we need to ask the bond attorney, if we did nothing, since they're included now, how would we dictate of, say we check the box December 1st and we are in debt $6 million to TIF. We're gonna capture that then if we keep them in the urban renewal plan. Which means we are taking that base then from all those tax bodies to pay our debt down. Because it's combined, it's not separate in our urban renewal plan. So we would capture then that 91,000 and put it towards debt then. If we keep them in the urban renewal plan. You guys understand that? I can confirm that, but I think that's how it's gonna happen because we didn't dictate that parcel that Homeland is under separate from our other 66 wind turbine sites. It's all together. Unless you guys had a different purpose of why we included that.
Do we have, but they would like 90% of that back?
So it depends on their hand first, if they're gonna sign up for the 5-year industrial exemption. That's up to them, that's not up to us. So the numbers vary. If they didn't sign up, it would be 91,000 collected. If they did sign up the first year, it would only be 22,905 approximately collected. You get that point?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna ask them today because they probably don't know if they're gonna sign up for the 5-year industrial exemption. That's on them, it's not on us. So that's why if they can come back to us, we can maybe negotiate to see if they're gonna do the 5-year phase-in. If not, you're talking different numbers, the 22,905 or the 91,622. Big number, big difference. I hate to have an agreement and then they don't sign up or vice versa. It's big numbers and I guess I'll be fair, why did we allow that parcel in? Were we hoping to capture the 22,091 for county projects? Or do we want to come back and negotiate or renegotiate, I guess? We haven't negotiated yet. We just took their proposal. So I'm asking for direction, or what do you want me or the bond attorney or Ray to do more? I hate to keep, I guess, Ray, when is the deadline that we would have to, as the county assessor, I guess if you know this, when is our last time to either check the box or so come up with a business? I suppose you would collect taxes on the, so the assessment goes out in 26.
26 would be the first assessment on phase 1,
On phase 1.
which would be payable in all 27, spring 28.
So yeah, so we do have time, if you guys need more time. But our last, when those assessments go out, that would be January 26th, so what, another 4 months on phase 1?
I'll say notice is out by April 1st, but it's effective January 1, 26.
Notice to go out April of 26th.
But again, I think the question mark here is, they're asking for 90%. Is it 90% of no phase in, 90% of the 5-year phase in, and then another 5 years after that? You can always negotiate a lesser percentage.
Correct.
0.
Yep.
I think that's a question you have before yourselves.
I agree. I was trying to get there.
But I think that's the question you have. Are they asking 90% of the no phase in, 90% of the 5-year phase in? And then over 10 years or 5 years, are you looking at maybe a lesser percentage? If you do want to work with them on JIF project specific, or not whatsoever with them, and just collect that TIF, or maybe say, you know what, maybe we should just exclude that from the urban renewal plan. I think those are the questions you have before yourself.
Yep, I agree. So he brings up a good point. The 5-year phase-in is only good for 5 years, and they did ask for 90% for 10 years. So now we're working on 2 different numbers, potential.
So if you look at your 77, let's say you look at no phase-in, you're looking at 91,622 per year. You're actually looking at phase 1, $900,000 in cash collection, give or take, and then phase 2, you'd be looking at $600,000. I'm just rounding off.
Mm-hmm.
1.5 million with no phase-in in 10 years probably, and 90% of that. Whereas if you look at the 5-year phase-in, you're looking at on phase 1, 720,000, and for phase 2, you're looking at 472,000.
Yeah.
So over 10 years.
So yeah. So I guess any board member wants to discuss about asking them their wishes of a 5-year phase-in, so we know what numbers we're talking about, and then go back to either their board or whoever they have in charge of, because you can't deny the 5-year phase-in. If they apply for that next week, that's going to be on the books.
And like I mentioned, I believe Jake, I discussed the fact that the deadline for them to file for that 5-year phase-in is February 15th
Of 26.
of 26 for phase 1.
Yeah. So they had time to file that exemption. I think we need to decide though within the next 4 months. And that's where we need to be transparent with Homeland here, because they're the ones that came forth, and then we did include it in the urban renewal plan. Does anybody else want to talk? Steve, anything? Isaac?
I'm just gonna state that I have investment in Homeland, so I'm not gonna vote
Okay,
for or against this.
perfect.
I think 90% is pretty high.
Good.
It's, very well established, and I'm sure 90% is needed.
What about 10 years? If they would lower or we would negotiate lower percent. And does it matter, I guess, if it's phased in? To me, it's benefiting them if they would phase in, no matter what happens in property tax. I guess, to me, that's where I would add, we need to know that first. And then maybe talk about 90% in the years. Travis, you got anything else?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, 90 is pretty high, but I do think we need to know the 5-year phase in before we do anything.
Scott, anything else to add, or?
Well, I would just say, I think, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but they probably want to know where we are percentage-wise on the no phase-in before they're gonna make a decision on the 5-year phase-in, would just be my opinion of that. I do believe we included it in the urban revitalization plan because there was discussion of possibly using some of that money to fix infrastructure closer to the plant out there. But at the 90%, if we're gonna discuss the percentages, I would be, at this time, I would be nowhere near 90%.
Is the 10 years negotiable?
I would think that 10 years would be negotiable, but
Devil's advocate, been thinking about this, you know, they are a big industrial facility in Chickasaw County, and we thank them to be here. We do, farmers / tax base. They did get the 20-year tax abatement when they got here in, I believe, 2009-ish.
It was 2009.
2009.
They will go taxable with the 2029 assessment.
Yeah. They're gonna see a big tax increase then in 2029. They know it's coming, we know it's coming. They do great improvements. I think it's negotiable as your chair to either set up a committee to negotiate, if that's the way the board wants to, excluding Steve, because you declared a conflict, right?
Right, correct.
But I think we needed this open meeting to get where we're at today. They provided it, and then I think we bring back a negotiation team, if that's fair with the rest of us. We really don't want this negotiation strategy. I guess I want to be transparent enough to the taxpayers, but I don't think a negotiation is in a public meeting, at my point. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
I guess you guys want to set up a committee and maybe our county attorney is listening and watching and maybe doesn't agree with this. I guess we'll talk to him tomorrow, or he'll call me. I guess you guys want to do that, or you guys want to negotiate back in an open meeting? Just trying to bring a more,
I think doing it in a committee is probably better, and then bring the numbers forward to an open meeting at a different date. Would be more appropriate, if, like you said, the county attorney is okay with that.
and I guess we need those answers too, and you're right, I think they need to see if a 5-year phase-in is appropriate for them. If the counter offer, we'll put it that way, I don't know if anybody has agreed to 90%. Any 4 of us are, so to me, then negotiations need to happen then. But we need to know if they're gonna apply for the 5-year phase-in or not. Bring Scott's comment back in. I mean, there's plenty of roads within their facility that probably could use some improvement.
Well, I know that was just discussion, I think a year ago when this all kind of got started, was a possibility that we could maybe utilize some of that ourselves to fix some of our infrastructure closer to the plant.
There's a lot of state highways that enter it, but there's a lot of county roads that also get there. So am I hearing at the committee then, or you just want me to negotiate so we don't have to have the public hearing notices and everything else? Because otherwise, if the board does set up a committee, remind you if there's 2 of us, I think we still have to post the agenda, which then turns into a public meeting. You guys want Scott to do it? I don't really care. I can't promise nothing as one member of a committee, so my default is always coming back to the full board. So. Or else, if that's not a good idea, then I guess what direction do you want to move forward?
I think we should have a discussion with our attorney before we decide if we're gonna have one person or more than one person on that committee.
Perfect.
Probably, yeah, I agree with Scott, we probably better talk for the attorney.
Sounds good. You agree?
I agree, yeah.
All right, so I will visit with the county attorney about this, sorry, Homeland. And we will get you updated once we find out with the county attorney if a committee is needed or if this negotiation has to be in public session. Fair enough?
Fair enough, sounds good.
Any other questions on this agenda item? Any more facts that you guys need to see? Anything Ray needs to get to us? I think he's been transparent on getting numbers to us, approximately numbers of tax base, tax levy rates, all subject to change. Ray, when do you put the value on? I'll follow up with that if you're still there.
As far as when will I determine their value?
On phase one, yes.
I will probably do an inspection, the latter part of next month,
Okay,
to find out exactly what they have done. With the type of facility, I generally will try to utilize to some extent their actual cost figures, and then look at an adjustment like I've shown on some of my other presentations.
Okay.
So, you know, I guess
2 months.
26 of the non-recessed year, so I'll be using the current annual levels and obsolescence figures that I have right now on the books, so that will not change. So I could, you know, as far as hard numbers on the value, probably
November, you would have the hard number of.
yeah, I would have some hard numbers.
Okay.
I guess, I could maybe do something earlier, but, you know, I'm gonna be gone all of next week. And then, the first week of October is my fall conference. So that's what I'm saying, probably late October is when I would be making my inspection.
Okay. Alrighty, got a little bit of time, I guess, to get the hard numbers to us, I guess, in the homeland. And then I guess we need to figure out the negotiation strategy. So. Fair enough, all? Alright, thanks, Ray.
Yep. Give me a call.
Alright, thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Yep, thanks. See ya. Alright, anything else to follow up with that? Otherwise, I think I know my lunch numbers. Talk to the county attorney. Alright, thanks, Beth. Appreciate it. Anybody else have a committee assignment? If not, discuss future agenda items. I know Friday, it seemed like a lot of department heads needed to be on the agenda, but they missed the deadline. So I know we have Chad on there with some updates of the dock and the concrete pads. I know we got the sheriff on there, Ryan, to discuss some wage adjustments per union contract. We also have the public hearing for the budget amendment and a possible closed session. And I guess we'll see what this week brings. 11 o'clock is another closed session for the IT audit report. That one is gonna be at the community service building, just because the department head team isn't welcome to attend. Still debating, since we have the public hearing up there for the budget amendment. I don't know without talking to the county attorney to see if we can have that up here and then move, or put a sign on the door to have the public hearing down there. I just don't want to confuse the public if they want to attend the public hearing. And I don't know if a sign on the door is good enough to say it's been relocated down there. That's the question I have to ask. And I gotta figure out the owl situation. If we're gonna have it up here first and then relocate it down there to give me enough time to get it set up and programmed to make the 11 o'clock thing work. But that is a closed session. It's been requested already for county security reasons. Pending board approval. So just work with me. We might be here first and then move down there. Or vice versa, we might be down there if the attorney thinks a posting on the door is good enough for the budget amendment. Otherwise, is there anything else that I'm missing? Or I guess next week? If not, is there a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Isaac to adjourn at 9:36. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say Aye, any opposed, motion is carried.
What's your name? What's your name?